Hey everyone, welcome to the video to discuss Holochain. This is with the ticker code HOT versus Tether. I would talk about HOT versus Bitcoin, but we all know what that chart looks like. It looks awful, as we know. It looks just like a dead coin. But I guess real quick on like the daily, this looks a little constructive. Looks like a little bit of a bottoming formation. Right here around 9 satoshis is kind of like an area that I would be interested in. Of course, getting all the way down here to 7 would be fantastic, but there's still remains to be seen. There's always the chance that it could go much lower. So before I get talking here about hot versus tether, I'm going to start with my usual. This isn't financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, preserve your capital, and manage your risk appropriately. I'm here just to give my opinion on the market, and we didn't harm any cats, dogs, fish, or walruses in the making of this video. All right, so now that we've got that out of the way, let's take a look here because even though there are times where I might be short-term bearish on something, doesn't mean that I don't believe that it can just rip right through the sky and just continue moving on. So we've talked about this before. We've talked about some of these counts here. Basically we've got, we have a clear impulse. We have a decent pivot here, although we did get a little bit of invalidation on this push down here because, on a wave one, this was a pretty interesting and long wick. So that's one of the reasons why I'm still counting this as valid down here because this wick was a little excessive, if you ask me. So I would be half tempted to bring the one down here, but nonetheless, that was the high, so we're going to keep it there. And then when we come down here to the 2, then we have to put in a 3. So we've got a 1, 2, a 3, 4, and then go up for the 5 to complete the 3, and then it looks like we've completed the ABC correction, which would take us into our 4, and now we are working on putting in the 5. Okay, so this Fibonacci, which I put on the last video, starts down here at the 2, goes all the way up here to the 3, and so what it looks like we've done, we have created this this ABC correction down here. We didn't quite get to the 618, but we were pretty close to it. We were pretty close to the 618, and then we pushed up. We had if we had 5 waves up there, you could get it out if you really tried hard. So this would be a 1, and we're working on a 2. So I'm going to remove this Fibonacci here real quick, but just outlining here that our target is about 11,000, or really 0.11056 cents. So still less than a penny. Right? The projection here is going to go out a little further, which I would really expect that to happen because the length of time it took to complete this 3, not that it should take that long to complete the 5, but the geometry does make a little more sense. The amount of time it took to go from the 1 to the 2 relative to the 3 to the 4 was pretty close, right? So I would say that time frame was pretty good. So I'm going to remove this Fibonacci. I want to focus on our current wave 4, or really wave 1 of wave 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Fibonacci here, and I'm going to measure from down here all the way to up here. And we did come all the way down to the 786. Okay, so I want to, although I don't really care for the 30-minute chart, especially on a chart like this, which doesn't have a whole lot of volume behind it, what I want to do is I want to dig out this ABC correction that I'm outlining here. So first off, we have from up here at the 5, we have our own A, B, C coming down here, of course, on a different degree, a smaller degree. And I'm going to change the color on this just a little bit, just for contrast, to come down here to this A. So we've got the C down here. And then what we had another ABC on the way up. This one was an A, a B, and a C to get us up there. And then what I think is happening here is actually 5 waves down, but it's more of a diagonal. So we have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and now we're going down for the 5. Now where that 5 is going to land, we really don't know. Where that 5 lands is going to be where this C is. It very well could stop here, at 8,600, 8,700 or so. I've got bids layered down here just for the record, just so that, I'm completely transparent with my opinion. Down here in this area is where I am looking to accumulate. I sold at about 9,200, which was right here because what I saw this trend line. If you go on a higher time frame, it's more clear. But on this trend line, which we saw support here, we broke through, but then bounced back up, and then we saw more support here, support here, support here. We saw support in so many different areas on this trend line. So I feel like this trend line was pretty important. And then what ended up happening is we broke through, and then we attempted to touch it, but then we have currently rolled over. So, the support areas that I would be looking for, if there's a reaction here at about 89 or 9,000, 8,900, 9,000 in this area, if there's a reaction down here, I would be interested in re-entering the position. But I do believe that we're likely going to come back down to 8,600, 8,700 or so. And then we do have our tools here that we can use to measure how that's going to retrace. If this is an A, a B, and going down for the C, what we can do is we can start our trend-based fib extension from the top of that 5, down here to the bottom, and up to our next retrace. And so it retraced up here. So the target could very well be right here at 8,900. 8,900 right on the nose, actually. 8,900 would be an area where an ABC target would be. The next area, and let me go ahead and remove this Fibonacci just to kind of clean things up. So we're looking at one area of retrace. So this 618 down here. The next target technically would be all the way down here at the 8,200 level. Now, if that happens, and it's possible that it will happen, right? If that happens, that would mean that this 3 going into a 4 is not complete. So likely what that would mean is that this is more of an A and then a B for an expanded flat and going down here for the C. So we're going to call this our alternate count. So we're going to put this up here. I'm going to mark this off in yellow because this is going to be our alternate count that we could come all the way down here. So if I buy here at about 8,600, I want to stop loss probably around 8,500 and then re-enter down here 8,200. The only thing I don't like about that is, again, the amount of time it would have taken from this 3 to get over here, or rather for this to complete, for this to resolve. If it comes all the way down here and we have this, A, B, C scenario where it comes all the way back down here, well, then the amount of time it took from the 1 to the 2 compared to the 3 to the 4, that is, it's a little long, but, we'll just have to kind of wait and see what happens once we come down here. So right now, I'm out, and I'm not going to make any suggestions for you. I'll let you make those decisions on your own. But I do believe that we are going to come back down, and there's a lot of confluence down here at this 8,200 level. We have lots of support and resistance pivots. We've talked about that in previous videos. Lots of support and resistance pivots. We recently had one again here on October 23rd. So if we come back down here, I would expect there to be a bit of a spring down in this zone. We did have a little bit of a spring there, but if we come down and hit it again, chances are pretty good that's going to be a pretty bullish spring that we'd see there. Of course, Bitcoin has full effect on this. So Bitcoin is going to be the driving factor behind this, and I only say that because of this. I only say Bitcoin is going to drive this because, this is not a very constructive chart to be keeping an eye on, right? The HOT versus BTC, Holochain versus BTC, is not super constructive unless we see another push up to 12 or 13 Satoshis, I would say that, of course, I mean, I'm stating the obvious here. The Holochain is pretty much going to be following whatever Bitcoin is doing. So this is a steady asset, and maybe you might be asking yourself, well, why don't you just trade versus Bitcoin instead of Holochain? Well, because there is the potential that this is going to move to the upside, which would give you um, more Bitcoin versus the Bitcoin versus USD. So if this moves up, your exponential increment is going to be much higher versus if you were just sitting in Bitcoin. So that's the reason why alts exist, right? Alts exist partially because of the project, mostly because of trying to accumulate Bitcoin. In my case, I do have a little bit of a bias versus Tether. I am a Tether trader. I'm not necessarily a Bitcoin trader. I'm focused on US dollars. I'm focused less on earning Bitcoin. But if you play the cards right, if you're earning US dollars, you're going to be earning Bitcoin along the way, as long as you're in the right assets at the right time. Of course, if I was trading Holochain up here when it got up to 40.42, then I would be significantly down. But right now, in this area, I believe the upside potential is greater. I believe that we are in an accumulation zone right now on Holochain versus a distribution zone, which we were previously. So I'm playing the cards as well as I see them, and as far as Holochain goes, this is what I see. I see further move to the downside. I see us continuing our downtrend for at least a little bit longer. Still going to continue to look here at this zone between 8,200 and 8,600. If you buy here 85, 8,600, I'd set your stop loss about 8,450 and then reaccumulate down here 8,250 to 8,200. So this area would be that next area. That's going to be our secondary scenario. If we're able to get above this red trend line, and sorry for this meme, I say this all the time, if we get above this trend line, we reclaim this as support, that's where I would be looking to re-enter this trade. So I'd be looking to re-enter if we're able to, get back up here above 9,300 or so, get back up there, and then I'm happy to re-enter the trade. But for right now, sitting on the sidelines, just kind of waiting for things to happen. So yeah, so if you have any questions or anything, feel free to pop in the Discord and let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. If you don't have an invite to the Discord, feel free to throw in a comment. I can get you an invite code. And like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Otherwise, I will catch you all later. Peace out.